Hi everyone. In this video, I will be explaining how to cook a steak using the reverse sear technique. Reverse sear means we're going to cook it in the oven at a very low temperature for an extended period of time, and then take it out of the oven and sear the outsides of the steak afterwards. This will allow us to get a nice crust on the outside while maintaining a nice consistent temperature in the center of the steak. So the first thing you want to do is grab a steak at your local butcher shop. Right here I have a sirloin. I would generally recommend a ribeye or a New York strip, but anything will do. And so the first thing you want to do once you get your steak is to dry it off. So I just grab some paper towels here, and I'm just going to pat it down a little bit. We want to remove any water from the steak, because that will affect the sear ultimately. And next thing we want to do is to salt the steak. So I have some sea salt here. I want to grab some nice coarse sea salt, and I'm just going to liberally salt the steak. I'd recommend putting a lot of salt on. Probably more than you would think is necessary. That's just going to draw out some of the moisture from the steak and again make our sear better. Add some flavor too. So yeah, I'm going to salt both sides. And do a little bit more. All right. Now, we want to let this steak get to room temperature. Before we cook it, I just took this out of the fridge. So it's a little cold right now. So I'm gonna let it rest for probably like 45 minutes or so. And when it reaches room temperature, I'll continue this video, so hold tight. All right, so our steak's been resting for a bit and it's gotten to room temp. And we're just about ready to put it in the oven. First, we want to add some black pepper to it. This is going to just add some flavor and give us a nice good crust later on. Again, I'm pretty liberal with my use of pepper. You're going to want to preheat your oven anywhere from 200 to 250 degrees. I just chose 215 this time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our steak and place it on a baking rack. I'm just using my straight up oven rack for this. And let's put it in the oven. Add a cooking sheet underneath just to catch anything that falls down. All right, so our steak's in the oven. We're gonna give it, I don't know, about 40 minutes or so. Check the temperature in a bit. We're gonna want to get the internal temperature of the steak to about 95 to get a nice medium rare. Okay, so it's been about 35, 40 minutes. I think I'm ready to take this steak out of here now. Just grab some tongs. Check the temperature here, get right in the center. We're about 100 degrees. A little bit warmer than I wanted, but that's definitely fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cast iron skillet right here and start heating it up. And we're going to let the steak rest, and we're going to let this skillet get piping hot. and then we're gonna sear the steak on the skillet. This is just gonna help the sear. It's gonna add some fat. It's gonna add a lot of flavor. The more butter you add, the better it's gonna taste. That's about 3 tablespoons right there. So we're gonna let the butter melt a little bit. At this point, I would also suggest grabbing a spoon. We're gonna use this spoon to spoon butter over the steak as it cooks. Butter everywhere. All right, perfect. So I'm gonna put the steak on. So I'm gonna do about 1.5 minutes per side. Again, because we already cooked the inside of the steak in the oven, we don't need to cook for too long right now. We're purely just searing the outside of the steak and trying to develop a nice, delicious crust. So as you can see, I'm just throwing some butter over the steak. It's gonna add a lot of flavor. In general, you want to be trying to throw butter on the portions of the steak that are still red. That means they aren't quite cooked well enough yet, and the hot butter will help add a little bit extra for that sear. Alright, we're almost done with this side. Alright, we'll give this guy a flip. And again, we're going to do about 1.5 minutes sear on the other side as well. Again, spoon and butter over the steak as it sears. You can actually start to see the crust already developing, and it's going to develop even further after we let the steak sit for a bit. Yeah, normally around this time I'd start firing up some sides, start cooking some vegetables. We're gonna let the steak rest after this, and that's gonna add an additional 10 minutes or so to the whole process. So now I find this is a good time to start cooking up some sides. All right. Alright, so now it's about time to take it off the pan. We've seared both sides for roughly 1.5 minutes, and that should give us a nice crust. Okay, now this is, in my opinion, the most important part of cooking a good steak. We want to let this thing rest for about 10 minutes. It can be very tempting to cut into it and see what it looks like, maybe even tempting to take a bite out of it, because we put so much work into this thing. But by letting it rest, we're gonna let the juices flow throughout the steak, and it's going to be much better. And it's actually still cooking right now a little bit as well. So I strongly recommend letting the steak sit for about 10 minutes. So we'll wait 10 minutes and come back and see how it turned out. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. Let's see how we did. Perfect. Exactly what we're looking for. Nice medium rare. Very, very little band. And I'm sure it's going to taste delicious. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy your steaks.